So Bernie Sanders again putting Hillary Clinton a bit on the defensive over her perceived ties to Wall Street during last night's Democratic presidential debate. Here's a little bit of that.
If all we're going to talk about is one part of our economy, and indeed one street in our economy, we're missing the big oil companies, we're missing other big energy companies, we're missing the big picture. And I have a record of trying to go at the problems that actually exist.
I agree with much of what the Secretary said. But, Madam Secretary, it is not one street. Wall Street is an entity of unbelievable economic and political power.
Fascinating, right? Katherine Timpf is reporter for the National Review. Julie Roginski is a Democratic strategist. Both are Fox News contributors. Welcome to you both. How do you think they did last night, Julie?
Well, it's interesting. What you saw Hillary doing, and I'm not sure if people really caught it, but she was basically saying, okay, I'll own it. I'm not trustworthy. People don't think I'm trustworthy, but I'm going to make sure that Bernie Sanders doesn't get a free pass here. He's not going to be trustworthy either by the time I'm done with him. And that's why you saw her going after him on the whole, if you have something to say to me, say it, but you're being kind of shady about the way you're implying that I'm not trustworthy. You have the same problems that I do. And what you saw her doing with Wall Street is she was trying to distill what is admittedly a very complicated issue. I mean, it's not easy, the economy in general, but also the reforms we need to do with the economy. He's going for a very populist message. He's just saying burn the whole thing down. She's trying to be nuanced. He's trying to essentially say it all stinks. Let's just scrap it and start from scratch. And that's where you see the difficulty for her, in addition to the fact that obviously she took a lot of money from Wall Street.
She said, you know, she took the other night, she said she took $675,000. Which just, you know, I mean, I think a lot of people's reaction is, you know, okay, that's fine. But if that's linked, it has to, you know, they have to prove that there's a link between taking that money, Katherine, and any decisions that she made. And I thought she was defending herself last night on that, Julie, because she was saying, you know, not, okay, I'm dishonest and not trustworthy, but you can't ever prove that any decision that I made was influenced by the money that I accepted for those
Of course there's a link, just the fact that they are giving her that much money. People give money to people that they like. There's no way they were paying her that much money to come in there and tell them how horrible they all were. And people who've gone to these speeches have said she was saying it's foolish to slam Wall Street. And she really brought this on herself because she said, oh, you know, I've been fighting Wall Street and this and that. If she had done what she did last night in the beginning, then that would be one thing. But she really brought these attacks on herself by the message she initially put out there.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah, but Bernie Sanders is trying to make this about, you know, in essence, I understand the argument that she was making there about one part of our economy. But I guess what the question that pops up in my mind when I watch this discussion is, what about the role that the government played in the Wall Street debacle? What about Fannie Mae? What about Freddie Mac? What about the people who never got fired in those organizations? Why is it that they never talk about that, Julie, as if it's just all Wall Street and the government had nothing to do with this debacle?
Well, you're not the audience that they're appealing to, right? They're appealing to...
That may be the case, but I'm just interested in the truth.
They're appealing to primary Democratic voters, all of whom are... not all of whom, but the majority of whom are vastly disgusted at the way things are operating on Wall Street. They feel that the rich are getting richer.
It's all their fault.
They feel like the poor are getting poorer. Yep. Income inequality is the top issue, by far the top issue among Democratic primary voters. That's why you see Bernie Sanders capturing the imagination of the Democratic electorate so much. That's why you see her struggling. Kat is absolutely right. When she took that money from Wall Street, she should have known. She must have known that it was going to come back and bite her eventually. You cannot stand up with these people, take their money, and then try to criticize them down the road as a candidate. So, of course, now it's starting to affect her. But what you saw her trying to do, again, is that she was trying to be so nuanced about this. She was right. This is not just a Wall Street issue. It's an issue across the board over many, many, many different industries. But Bernie Sanders has this thing that he does.
Don't say that at the beginning, though.
I agree.
Don't say, oh, me too with the Wall Street. Yeah, boo, Wall Street. When it's not that hard to say, hey, what were you saying before? Let's take a look at another little piece from
last night real quick.
Kid gets caught with marijuana, that kid has a police record. A Wall Street executive destroys the economy, $5 billion settlement with the government, no criminal record. That is what power is about, that is what corruption is about, and that is what has to change in the United States of America.
One thing that's so interesting to me here, Kat, is that, you know, you're hearing a similar thing from Donald Trump. I mean, Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are both weighing in on that point that he just made.
Well, he's right. I think that's totally right. But it's not just Wall Street people, it's government people also. And I'm for legalization, and I think that it destroys people's lives to have a criminal record, and that people who are obviously lower income have more problems with it. I think that that's clear. And yep, that's what someone establishment who's been up there is going to have to struggle with, especially because she hasn't really spoken out on this issue. She's just kind of saying she has. Again, her criminal justice record is atrocious if you're looking for reform to help these people.
But look what
she looped in pot smokers and people who hate Wall Street all in one answer there.
She's spent the entire 90s being super prison happy. Now she's just like, there's too many people in the prisons. Well, yeah, lady, you and your husband played a big role in that.
But look what he's trying to do. That's actually a very smart point on his part. He knows that the next states after New Hampshire or South Carolina, Nevada, majority minority Democratic electorate in both of those going forward. A lot of those same states have the same demographics. She's winning among minority voters. Criminal justice reform is an issue that affects all of us, but certainly more minority voters than others. That's what he's trying to appeal to while doing the populist Wall
Street.
Well,
he also has had a record of supporting that,
and
unlike her.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Julie. Good to see you both.
I thought we were getting Super Bowl predictions.
You have a Super Bowl prediction?
I don't, but I know this guy does. John Scott coming up next on Happening Now.